Elyna Mabanglo. She is known for being one of the influential poet, being a Filipino poet, writer, journalist, and retired professor born in Manila on March 30, 1949. Okay? Her works dwells into the themes of culture, history, and social issues in the Philippines, which means that she is among of the people that advocates and spread awareness on the daily lives of the Filipino experience and how complex and hard it was. Okay? She also obtained a bachelor's degree in Filipino in the University of the East, followed by a master's degree in education in Philippine Normal College, followed by a doctorate in Filipino and literature from Manuel L. Quezon University. Okay? So, Mabanglo not only experienced the sunshines and rainbows but also the hardships of life, being that she lost her mother and experienced poverty during her time as well. But this weakness turned into weapon as it influenced her writing as well as it is the reason that inspired her to persevere and be a voice to those minorities. So we can see that Mabanglo here is an intellectual. She is very distinguished and very well known, very influential, being renowned for her contributions in not only poetry but also writing, journalism, and academia, since she was a journalist and professor after all. Okay, her works often explore the profound themes of culture, history, and social issues, which means that she is among the person that spread awareness in the intricate tapestry of the lives of the Filipino. Okay, um, she is also an admirable woman that despite facing adversity, she persevered and become one of the excellent authors that are famous today as well as influential. Okay? So now let's explore the contributions that she made during the time period of post-EDSA literary period. Okay? So let's see here. Okay. So in the post-EDSA literary period, we can see that Mabanglo here is recognized for her impactful works in because it focuses on the complex lives of women, particularly the OFWs. Her collection, mga Liham ni Pinay, not only won the Blanca Awards but also the Manila Critics Circle National Book Award for Poetry, which showcases her critical acclaim, which means that her writing defies the traditional norms, making it very popular during that time because it addresses the themes of female sexuality and social issues. As a former journalist and professor, also, she contributed in the promotion and preservation of the Filipino language, culture, history, as well as literature through her work that acts as her main advocacy. Okay, so overall, we can see that Mabanglo here is a she significantly contributed to the Philippine literature, not only the post-EDSA literature, okay? She highlights the experience of Filipino women, particularly the OFWs, through her powerful and thought-provoking works. She also challenges the traditional societal norms and taboos, particularly regarding the female sexuality, as well as her her uh, her critic during the society issues, which is both admired locally and internationally. Additionally, her advocacy work in promoting and preserving the Filipino language and literature solidified her position as a prominent figure in the literary landscape.
Lilia Quindoza Santiago's work were significant during the post-EDSA period in the Philippines, a time marked by renewed hope, political awakening, and the struggle for social justice. Her literature captured the voices of the marginalized and underscored the challenges faced by women, indigenous people, and other underrepresented communities. By focusing on themes of resistance, resilience, and identity, Santiago's writings contributed to the evolving narrative of post-EDSA literature, which sought to critique societal inequalities and inspire societal change. Through her stories and advocacy, she played an essential role in reflecting and shaping the consciousness of society transitioning from dictatorship to democracy. For the summary of the very last story of Huli by Lilia Quindoza Santiago's work, it tells the life of Huli, a mute garbage woman in the town of Dimatanto, a place symbolizing incomprehensibility and confusion. Huli's tragic journey begins with her birth to Francisca, an unwed woman from a wealthy family, leading to her being abandoned and rejected by society. As she grows, she faces constant bullying and exploitation, unable to defend herself due to her disability. Huli encounters abuse from a town investigator who sexually harasses her, deepening her sense of helplessness and anger. Eventually, Tinyong, a barangay tanod, takes Huli in and cares for her, but his kindness turns problematic when he attempts to exploit her sexually. In a desperate act of self-defense, Huli kills Tinyong. Consumed by frustration, trauma, and a loss of control, she descends into madness. The story concludes with Huli being confined to a psychiatric hospital where she dreams of escaping to change society, highlighting the devastating effects of neglect and marginalization of the voiceless in a community that refuses to understand their pain. In the very last story of Huli, the central theme revolves around the struggles of the marginalized and voiceless individuals in Filipino society. Huli, as a mute woman, symbolizes the oppressed and silenced members of society who endure constant exploitation and abuse. The story critiques societal indifference, highlighting how those in power manipulate and disregard the suffering of the poor and vulnerable. Themes of isolation, helplessness, and the tragic consequences of neglect are explored through Huli's life. The story style reflects post-Edsa literary trends, characterized by a raw, realistic portrayal of societal issues and personal trauma. The narrative is fragmented, reflecting Huli's disturbed mental state, and utilizes a symbolic term, dimatanto, meaning incomprehensible, to mirror the confusion and injustice in the characters' lives. Through its gritty realism and psychological depth, the story underscores the emotional and societal cost of ignoring the powerless in a modernizing Philippines.
The summary of the Among the Disappeared by Ricardo list in 1972, martial law was declared in the Philippines, marking a dark period of repression. Homes were raided, people arrested, and media outlets shut down. Many went underground, adopting new identities to avoid capture. Junjun was born during this era, raised by abusive adoptive parents, and always lived in fear. Though gifted in singing, he withdrew from it under pressure and abuse. At the age of 17, he disappeared, wandering the streets as a lost soul. He met various people, like the impersonator Pongka, who also endured a painful life filled with rejection and abuse. Junjun later encountered Mitch Valdez, a fallen star who hid her own sadness behind laughter. Haunted by desire to discover his true family, Junjun uncovered the truth. His parents were revolutionaries, targeted by the military. In a rally, he saw his face on a placard calling for justice for his father, who was murdered in front of him as a child. His grandmother confirmed his lineage, and he learned that his mother, Amy, was a legendary guerrilla fighter. With the help of his mother's comrade, named Dante, and his friend Jean, also part of the movement, Junjun found Amy. He watched over her without revealing himself until during a military raid. He tried to protect her and was mortally wounded. In his final moments, Junjun's presence became tangible as he shielded his mother, reuniting with his true identity and finally achieving peace. When he woke up, he found his friends and family rejoicing. He had returned from the shadows, finally whole. The lesson of the story is Junjun reflects the deep effects of trauma, the search for identity, and the importance of family and community. It highlights how oppressive systems can tear lives apart and create generations of lost souls. Yet, it also emphasizes resilience, courage, and the unbreakable ties that bind people together. Junjun's journey teaches us that understanding one's past is crucial to finding purpose. and that true belonging often comes through solidarity and the courage to face painful truths. Overall, it suggests that healing and hope are possible even after deep suffering.
So this short story explores the complexities of love and friendship between two men. And they have a different sexual orientation. Benji was the gay man and Mike was the straight one. And these stories explores and delves into Benji's romantic feelings and emotion to Mike. And Mike isn't aware of his friend's romantic feelings towards him. And that's all for my part. Thank you.
The next on our list is Charlson Ong, and one of his famous Philippine literature that he was written is entitled The Execution. But before we tackle about the summary of The Execution, let us first have a gist of Ong's background. Ong is a fictionist. He is also a scriptwriter and a singer. He was born on July 6, 1960 in Mandaluyong, and he obtained his AP in psychology from the University of the Philippines in 1977. And currently, he teaches literature and creative writing under UP's Department of English and Comparative Literature. He has joined several writers' workshops here and abroad, and also has acquired numerous grants and awards for his fiction. It includes the Palanca Award, the Free Press, Z Graphic, the Asia Week, and also the National Book Award, as well as the Dr. Jose P. Rizal Award for his excellence. His novel, Embarrassment of Riches, published by UP Press in 2002, won the Silencio Literary Prize. In addition to this, Ong has served as a co-editor of the Likhaan Book of Poetry and Fiction. His short stories range from parodies of well-loved Filipino texts to insightful treatments of Chinese Filipino culture. Now, to give you a gist of what is The Execution by Charlson Ong is all about, basically its theme tackles about the identity, the trauma, and the delusionment felt among those marginalized within the society, particularly the Filipino-Chinese community during the martial law period. Charlson Ong, Mario reflects on a defining moment in his childhood when he and his father, Lim Bien So, witnessed the execution of Ganso, a family acquaintance accused of drug dealing. It is set during the Marcos regime in the Philippines. The story unfolds against a backdrop of political tension and racial prejudice, as Lim, a Chinese immigrant, experiences a profound sense of betrayal by his adopted country and the local community that abandons him. This event fractures Lim's view of justice and his fate in the Filipino society, leaving him alienated and consumed by bitterness. Lim's effort to help Gan are in vain, and the traumatic impact of the execution casts a shadow in his family, especially on Mario, who struggles to understand the complexities of his father's anguish. Over time, Lim's disillusionment with life deepens, leading a strained relationship with Mario, who grows up witnessing his father's gradual descent into emotional detachment and bitterness. The execution impacts haunt their household, robbing it of warmth and laughter as Lim distances himself from his family. After this, as his father lies on his deathbed years later, Mario finally responds to his father's silent plea for peace, helping him pass away and thus relieving him from prolonged suffering. The final act underscores the tragic weight of unresolved trauma that shaped their relationship and the unspoken sorrow that defined Lim's final years. And that is all for the post-EDSA literature period in the Philippines. And I hope you have learned something from us, and we'll see you on the next video. Thank you and bye.